Hello mga Mars! Welcome back to my channel. Naaalala niyo pa ba ang aktres na si Chin Chin Guttierez? Kung ano na siya ngayon at asa na siya ngayon? I-share ko sa inyo ang kwento niya. Babasahin ko ang article na sinulat ng pep.ph.com. Ito po yung video mga Mars. Former actress Chin Chin Guttierez is now a fully consecrated nun. As I mentioned on a viral Facebook post dated March 29, the former actress environmentalist now goes by the name Sister Lourdes or Lourdes. Chin Chin was consecrated at the Carmelite convent. The daughter of botanist Dr. Hermes Guttierez and former Franciscan nun turned painter Cecilia Arnaldo. Chin Chin said she has always felt the call to serve the Lord throughout her life. She recounted in the video interview Portraits in Faith on YouTube that the first major sign came to her when her philosophy professor in college challenged her notion about the existence of God. She said, "Believe it or not, it actually touched a core in my being. The fact that we would question the existence of God in a very Catholic school. Maybe nobody noticed it, but I approached my professor and asked, I know this is far the grade, but is anyone going to take care of my soul while I'm at it? While my mind is trying to convince myself and to find proof that God does not exist, does not God hear me? And is anyone going to be responsible for my soul?" And he smiled and he said, Continue. You're entering something very interesting and beautiful. So pursue that even as you try to make the grade. For some reason, I understand what he meant, and that was I think, the awakening of consciousness for me. The quest has begun. There's more beyond that we can all comprehend, and what we are conditioned to believe is probably a beginning. But truth is the journey that He wants us to all take. Just like a father to a child, to his daughter, he would love that his daughter knows him personally and surely just not know about him, about his works. So I said, yes, I will take that journey. I will not turn my back on anything. I will just expand myself and let you form and mold me. This interview was uploaded in September 2013. Chin Chin as an actress. Chin Chin was mostly known for her contrabida roles and teleseries. One of her more famous roles was a Corazon Rojas VDA, The Berenger and Maging Sino Ka Man, the John Lloyd Cruz Bea Alonso hit series that ran from 2006 to 2008. Her vision of Maria Clara in the 90s television adaptation of Jose Rizal's novel Noli Me Tangere was also memorable. The former actress believed that this particular role marked a significant part in her journey. She explained in the Portraits in Faith interview, "It was not an accident that I played that part of Maria Clara and was accepted in the television series. Noli Me Tangere for me was sort of like a scientific and anthropological and spiritual study of our society in those days in the late 1800s. And as a doctor, it is no wonder he diagnosed our society to have cancer. This is the cancer of our society today. How are we going to be tomorrow?" And that was more than 100 years ago, when people didn't really have access to education or to the existence of consciousness. But we have our native intelligence that was always there, the soul that knew And I think Jose Rizal had perceived that soul, that Filipino soul that was untouchable. And it was his expression to tell others that we have a soul that will refresh us, sustain us. She initially studied communication arts to pursue a career as an investigative journalist, but her path seemed to be steering her towards showbiz. And around the time she was doing Noli Me Tangere, Chin Chin was confronted with a question. Somehow, this question tied back to what her philosophy professor told her. Chin Chin related back to philosophy class the question of God, the question of truth, the question of why am I here? Who am I? Where I am going? And if I am going anywhere, how do I get there? I guess I'm trying to investigate that human conditions. If God is leading me to this business or this industry, let it be a way for me to find Him because showbiz was really not the safest path to take. By grace, I knew that, but I didn't know what showbiz was all about. The culture of materialism and mass and illusions was surrounding us, but I feel it the artist knows its soul. Then we can still use the medium and preserve that integrity in any project. I found ways, and the Lord had shown me ways. For some reason, I was guided by the right people, the right circumstances to make the right decisions. Chin Chin last major acting project was in 2010, Dahil May Isang Ikaw, and in ABS-CBN. As an environmentalist, during her active years in showbiz, Chin Chin used to spotlight to bring attention to her advocacy for environmental sustainability. For her, taking care of the environment meant preserving the sacredness of life. She related in the same 2013 interview, it's not just about survival. I realized in the last 15 years, environmental issues and movements is not just about our human rights to live sustainability. It's also about our sanctification. It's also about our sacredness. It's all about knowing we are home and treating one another as part of home. Not just people, but every being that has life is part of our sacredness. We destroy our sacredness when we destroy any part of nature. Right now, I'm just looking at all the thousands of species in the rainforest. We can't continue fighting each other. We have to start looking ourselves as a community. How to find that common union, that common unity. Like the thousand species in the rainforest, we realize that survival and love should be a communal affair. We have to take very, very crucial steps in how we address healing our land and our relationships. I believe because the earth can live for another 1.5 billion years. But with global warming, climate change, can we as a human being survive as a species on earth? So, it's a very real mission, a very real journey as well. Saying yes to Christ. Year 2006 was a major turning point in Chin Chin's journey. Recounted, I like what my father said. There is love and there is proof of love. Now, I know this. How should I live this truth? There could be 100 of good ways to live this truth, but what does God want for me? It's not that random that when we are prompted in our souls to our code for our certain part of the journey, there are parts of the journey and then there's the whole journey itself. When we actually say yes, we are saying yes to a collective, we are saying yes to community. Somehow, God wishes us to know Him. I don't think He wants to remain a mystery for us. Let's say Christ himself would call God Abba, Father. There are so many clues already about this relationship, and religion, traditions, or ways all path to our common union. My mother would always say, whatever you become, Chin, whatever you choose, remember we have one purpose in life. And that is to remember our way back to God. In December of that year, Chin Chin and her mother faced a crucial moment in their lives. Her mother was hospitalized and a critical state. Chin Chin continued, we were in and out of the ICU, the ER. She was really collapsing. Her body was in a collapse. If it was not her kidneys, it was her heart. If it was not the blood pressure, it was water spilling out of her cells. She recounted one faithful exchange with the Lord in between those moments. I brought it to the altar. I brought all of this to the altar, my God and my all. What is happening to you, to your creation? And what is happening to my mother? I see what is happening and what is my mission. Because I can speak for others, but at least be accountable, be responsible for my soul's mission. The answer to that question with my professor, who will be the responsible for my soul? At one moment, we really have to embrace that solitude and that silence and that reckoning with our divine origins. When we come from where we're going, that's our bright right to ask. And if there's a mission, I said, then so be it. Let my words be the first movement of my total acceptance and total offering. Then a thought came. What if there are obstacles? Then take away everything that is not necessary. A fire, real and spiritual. After that key prayer to the Lord, Chin Chin was given an answer in the form of a near tragedy, a house fire. Chin Chin, Quezon City home was completely burned to the ground on December 20, 2006. I woke 3 o'clock in the morning. I was woken up. The former actress narrated. It was a very quiet fire. Not even the neighbors, nobody knew. I opened the door of my bedroom and oh, there's a fire. I close the door, go back to sleep. There's a fire. I jump over the banister because at that time, the fire tons of fires. It was like the floor to the ceiling. It was mesmerizing. You get paralyzed to a certain extent. And I could almost hear the fire saying, we are here, we have arrived, but not for you, so get out as fast as you can. I just found my body was just following and I was hardly awake, but I knew what to do. I was looking at the fire. I landed on the floor downstairs, crushed my heel, compacted my spine. I was able to move by grace again. We carried my mom out to the garden. In minutes, the whole house was devoured by the fire. It was contained because it was built with stone. Chin Chin got second to third degree burns from the fire, but she didn't feel any pain. In fact, she felt that her spirit was prepared for this. While the nurses attended to her in the emergency room, she said a quiet prayer, Heavenly Father, what do I do? What do I have to do? And then a voice came back and said, what do you have to do? I have a watch, so watch. I have a rosary, so pray. Watch and pray. I have the miraculous medal still strong on my, so bear witness. Watch, pray, and bear witness. Okay. And then there was a nurse who was patting my shin to comfort me. And that's when I started to realize where I was. It's like my spirit went back into emotions were alive again. And then I said, who are you? You are comforting me so well. I was really teary-eyed at that time. I said, it's more painful what you're doing to me than the pain I'm feeling in my hands, in my burns. In my mind, his compassion was more painful. What is your name? And he said, no, I'm just a nurse. It does not matter. You'll be all right. I'm all right, but I want to know your name. And he said, Espirito. Chin Chin smiled to herself at the memory of it and recalled connecting the message in her head. Okay, watch, pray, bear witness in the Spirit, live in the Spirit. Who's going to the responsible for my soul? Okay, the Spirit, God. God is our soul. God is our. There's no more questions. Only God. No more answers. Only God. I have no knowledge. Only God. I am nothing. Only God. No vacation. Only God. Reaching the shore. Chin Chin faced the tragedy. Chin Chin faced the tragedy of losing her mother 3 weeks after the fire. But as she described it to PEP.ph or Philippine Entertainment Portal back in January 2007, it was a peaceful send-off. Life continued for the former actress after both events. And with renewed sense of purpose, Chin Chin recalled asking herself and the Lord 3 questions. What do I put to a close? What do I continue? And what do I begin? Whatever the answers would be, she reminded herself to accept it openly. Speaking in portraits in faith, Chin Chin related it to the shoreline. She said, the shoreline is so beautiful, Jesus always walks along the shoreline. It doesn't cut, it goes up and then it recedes. If your life has to recede, accept the pace, the beauty of that receding. And then, even what it has to rise, accept to face that. You have to face new shores. You have to leap into the new life. And what do you continue? You don't cut communion with people, with life, where you are. Those resonances of beauty and love and communion, it's all here with us. We all want to be understood and to be understand. We all want to be loved and have to be loved. Who is Chin Chin Guttierez? Ang kanyang tunay na pangalan ay Carmina Lourdes Cynthia Arnaldo Guttierez. November 22, 1969. So ngayong taon na ito, 2023, siya ay 53 na po. Kilala si Chin Chin sa kanyang screen name dahil nga artista siya, Chin Chin Guttierez. Yun nga, siya ay actress and model noon. Years active niya is 1992 and 2010. Di ba po may gagawin si si Arjo Ataide na Katleya Killer. Sa original nga na Katleya Killer sa aking mga kamay, ito, sa aking mga kamay, 1998, kasama niya dito si Christopher De Leon and Aga Mulak. Si Christopher De Leon ang kanyang husband dito. Si Aga Mulak naman ang killer dito. Na-obsess sa kanya at sobrang obsess sa kanya hanggang umabot na nga na talagang papatayin na niya si Chin Chin at nag-away na nga sila. At eto na nga, gagawin ni Arjo Ataide, i-remake nila ang Sa Aking Mga Kamay. Ang title ay The Katleya Killer. Kaya isa din yan sa inaabangan sa paglabas sa telebisyon ngayong taon na ito, ang Katleya Killer, starring Arjo Ataide at marami pa siyang mga kasamang bigating artista. At yun po, tinalikuran na nga po ng tuluyan ni Chin Chin Guttierez ang pag-aartista at sinunod niya ang kanyang calling, ang magiging madre at maglingkod sa ating Panginoong may kapal. At itong susunod na video naman, isi-share ko lang sa inyo ang mga nagawang pelikula ni Chin Chin Guttierez na napanood ko at talagang sobrang nagustuhan ko. At eto po yung mga some pictures ni Chin Chin Guttierez na isa sa pinakamagandang mukha sa Philippine Showbiz, mga Mars. Ang ganda niya, oh. Maalala ko sa kanya, nung high school ako, ano yon, commercial ng PLDT. Naku, hindi ko makakalimutan yun. Ang ganda! Ang ganda niya. Ito naman, mga Mars. Ito yung kasama niya, si Aiko Melendez. Sa panood ko rin yan. Maalaala the movie ito. Ang ganda rin ng kwento nito kung saan naging best actress dito si Aiko Melendez. 1994 pala yun. Tapos ang leading man nila dyan ay si Richard Gomez. Ang kwento naman dyan, mga Mars, ay may anak itong si Chin Chin Guttierez at kailangan niyang pumuntang Japan. Kasi mag-a-abroad nga siya bilang dancer siya doon, entertainer. Ngayon, iiwanan niya ang anak niya kay Aiko. Ganon po yung kwento, mga Mars. Hanggang napamahal na nga si Aiko sa anak ni Chin Chin na siya na talaga ang itunuring na mami nito, na ang tawag nga sa kanya ay Nainay. At the same time, nakilala ni Aiko si Richard Gomez na hindi niya inakala na yan pala ang ama ng anak ni Chin Chin Guttierez. Ganon yung kwento, mga Mars. Diba? Ang ganda. At ito naman, mga Mars, itong mula noon hanggang ngayon, 1996 pa pala ito. Isa ito sa napanood ko ring movie ni Chin Chin Guttierez na napakaganda rin ang kwento dito. Na nandiyan si Aiko Melendez, Robin Da Rosa, and Jo Marie Iliana. Mag-best friend yan, sina Chin Chin at Aiko, na talagang sister na talaga ang kanilang turingan. At napangasawa dito ni Aiko Melendez si Jo Marie. At live-in partner naman or boyfriend niya si Robin Da Rosa and Chin Chin Guttierez. Ang ganda rin ang kwento nito. At take note, mga Mars, mapapanood pala ito sa I Want TFC. Kung gusto nyong mapanood ito, nako, i-visit nyo na ngayon o puntahan nyo na ngayon ang I Want TFC para mapanood nyo itong movie nito. Tsak na talagang magugustuhan nyo kung na-miss nyo si Chin Chin Guttierez. Sobrang na-miss ko din talaga si Chin Chin Guttierez kasi isa to sa magandang artista natin na magaling at nako, ang ganda niya talaga. Hindi ko man ito nakita sa personal, pero sabi nga sa kwento na may nakakita sa kanya sa isang hospital, nagtataka sila na ang bango-bango daw talaga. Tapos may babae na naglalakad sa hallway. Habang palapit ng palapit itong babae naglalakad sa hallway ng hospital, si Chin Chin Guttierez pala, mga Mars. At napakabango daw talaga. At lalong bumango nung siya ay palapit na ng palapit yung nagkwento nung nakita na niya na malapitan. Ganon. Sana all nakita si Chin Chin Guttierez. At until now, wala na talagang balita sa kanya. Diba? Yun nga, yun daw talaga ang calling niya. Ay, nako. And nasiyahan ba kayo, mga Mars? Sana i-share ko ngayon sa inyo. Kilala nyo ba si Chin Chin Guttierez? Comment down below kung ano po reaction nyo dito. And that's it, mga Mars. Thank you for watching. Bye!